Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more. I'm Katie and we have an UPCRATE box today. So normally I do a bit of a live voice over whilst I'm opening these things. However, I'm sure you might be aware I have a bit of a cold at the moment. And it is getting better, but we still have the coughing fits, and I figured you guys did not want to hear that. If you're not a fan of the unboxing part, I will leave a marker on the screen and you head towards that and we can do the creative stuff. Otherwise, it's swatch time and I'll quickly run through what was in the box. So we had a very nice novelty fine liner pen with a reindeer on it, and we also have a selection of Decorite markers. Now, I've not tried these before and I have seen them, but I haven't used them, and swatching them out, they remind me a little bit of using the Faber-Castell white mark pens. So we've got the vibrancy of a Posca, but the convenience of a non-pump felt tip, if that makes sense. So there are 4 different types of pens by this Artline company. The first one is a bullet style. We have a flat style, we have a brush tip and a brush marker, which is water-based, and the brush marker doesn't have that opaque quality, but the other ones do. The bullet tip is a 1mm and the flat tip is 3. In addition to the box, we also have 3 Faber-Castell pens, 2 of which are metallic markers in the name of Heart of Gold and Nothing Else Metals. I like the references there. Also, the other Faber-Castell pen is a Pitt Artist pen fine liner, size small, India ink black pen. And we also get a Faber-Castell Gold Faber graphite pencil in the hardness of B. Paper we've got included is 110 GSM white paper and black paper, and we've also got a foldable blank card, which I don't use. In addition to all of the fabulous stickers and bits and bobs that come in this month's box, we have to give a shout out to this month's featured artist, and I believe it is Sonia Stageman. I might be saying that completely wrong, but the illustration we got this month is absolutely gorgeous, and they are also on YouTube and Instagram. Very cool. Make sure you check out the work. Absolutely gorgeous. This month's UPCRATE battle was Wonderland, and well, I'm getting Alice in Wonderland vibes here, and that's exactly what I went for. I'll talk about how the materials performed in retrospect to the swatches whilst we're doing this. So the opaque pens and markers were absolutely gorgeous to work with. I'm really happy with this box. This is a good box, and I really liked how nicely they applied. The paper was quite smooth and it accepted the ink quite nicely. Maybe the water-based markers were a little bit streaky, but that's okay. I didn't want it to be completely flat what I was achieving, and obviously when you swatch these things you learn how they're going to behave and how to use them. The opaque markers went down fantastically also, and they could be layered up, but a word of advice: if you're going to do that, make sure your first layer is completely dry, and the same goes with the metallic pens as well. The Faber-Castell Heart of Gold and Nothing Else Matters metallic markers were absolutely divine, really vibrant, had a really good shine to them, a little more so than the Artline metallics, but you do tend to lose sometimes the metalliciness of the pen when you start using colour ones, and I've used other coloured metallic markers and that kind of happens, and I think it's because they have a silver based sparkle to them rather than one being close to the colour of the pigment. The opaque markers showed up really vibrantly on the paper. However, you did get a bit of streaking with it, and I guess that's just because you've got quite a contrast with the surface beneath it. Now, apparently you can use these on glass and plastic, and it even says you can use these to make designs on a mug. Apparently, if you bake it in the oven, it will survive being washed. That's interesting. I might have to have a look into that one day. But not for now. Anyway, after waiting for the ink to dry, I did go over it with a second layer, and it is still a little bit streaky, but that's okay. And whilst the ink was still a little bit tacky, I went over it in that yellow pen just to try and add a bit of texture. Now, with the second coat, as you can see, whilst I am drawing the Cheshire Cat's teeth, it's looking a lot better. Now, you might have noticed I'm doing this over 2 sheets of paper. I kind of think when you've got 2 colours of paper, I want to try and incorporate them both, just so I can demonstrate how all the materials work in one go. So I'm kind of doing what I did with a lot of my Inktober work, and that was to create a selection of characters and props and then stick them over the top of another image, which is what I'm doing here. So I'd cut them all out. That was a painful job, very painful, but I'm quite happy that I managed to do it without butchering any of them. And it was quite fun just playing about how I wanted to arrange them before sticking them down, and I just used a glue stick, which was not included with the box, but that's okay, I've usually got something around. And I really like the characters that I've done. They're all sort of falling down this rabbit hole, and I tried to include a little bit of everything. So there was the smoking caterpillar, you've got the Queen of Hearts, we have Tweedledee and Tweedledum's hats, the Mad Hatter's hat, the Mad Hare, and obviously the rabbit, who was very, 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 very late apparently. Now, this has been a really fun box to work with. They're not necessarily materials I would purchase or buy, but I actually think I probably might do a little bit more with these opaque markers. The brush marker, the one that's a bit like Lego, I think that's a bit of a novelty, and personally I don't find them all that comfortable to hold. I do like the fact that you can do a multi-line with it at once. I'm not really sure where I would use that, but I imagine that would be really good if you're into lettering. And although they were quite smooth to work with, for colouring in large areas, I either quite like the opaque qualities of those painty markers, or I prefer an alcohol marker to try and keep it flat. That's just how I am at the moment, but they were quite nice, and I'm sure I'll find another use. I might see how water will affect them after they've just gone down, a little bit like what I've done with felt pens in the past. That could be quite an interesting thing to work with. So now what you can see is I'm just adding some finishing touches, really, just a few more details here and there, just adding a few shadows and a few highlights and tying it all together. So just as a conclusion, what was in this box, you got 2 metallic markers by Faber-Castell, you got a Pitt fine liner in size S by Faber-Castell, along with a B grade graphite pencil. We had Artline Decorite markers, and those are in 3 different nib sizes. You have a bullet, you have a flat and a brush, and then there was also the Artline Sticks marker with the Lego-y knobbly bits at the side, as well as 2 colours of paper, black and white, in 110 GSM, and all the other goodies too. I also forgot to mention the novelty pen, which is just adorable. I like that. That is going pride of place somewhere tidy on my desk. I'd love to hear in the comments if any of you guys have tried these materials, or even if you've got UPCRATE and what you thought of the box, and if you haven't had it yet, But I guess if you've got this far, it's not spoiled. You can let me know what you thought of this month's ingredients. I personally think it was better than last month's, and I will see myself using these in the future. They're just so unusual. I'm used to using metallics that are opaque, but using a selection of colours that are opaque. I think I can have some fun with this, and I think they could work quite nicely partnered with alcohol markers. That would be interesting. Now, just to add some final finishing touches, I feel like I've been adding final touches to this for ages, but I just kept wanting to add more and more little bits, but not wanting to overwhelm it. I just added some swirlies coming from the caterpillar's pipe, and just to sort of emphasise they're just all swirling around in this crazy little world that was Alice in Wonderland. I really, really did enjoy this box though, and on the whole, I'm really happy with what I've been getting each month from UPCRATE. Even last month's box wasn't my favourite, but it wasn't terrible. It wasn't terrible, and I have used some of the stuff since, and some of the items did end up in my staple go-to art kit. I really hope you have enjoyed this video, and I hope you found it helpful as well. It might just sort of give you an idea on how to use these materials if you haven't before. It's kind of fun sort of exploring these things together with you guys. If you have enjoyed this video, don't forget to give me a like, it'll really help me out. And as well, if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe, because it would really help me out, and it just means you can keep up to date with all the other bits and bobs I add. Anyway, thanks again for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye!